the battle of Britain is about to begin. But if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
Goes by many names: the Tin Tommy, the Plumber's Nightmare, the Hardware Store Clacker, or simply Tube. Forged in the basements of London from simple metals and springs, it is a gun that can be made just about anywhere. So that's just what we've done. Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Pancake of Pantech Industries, and today we are looking at the Sten Mark II. Have you ever had a neighbor that sort of creeped you out? Like, you know he's harmless, but you sort of kind of feel like you might wake up at 2 a.m. with him sucking on your toes? Well, in 1940, the UK did, and while they were purchasing Thompson guns from the United States, the £200 price tag was beginning to feel like an unlawful taxation of a suffering people. Ironic. So instead, the chaps at Enfield began work on a domestically produced subgun that took the price from £200 down to $11. They did this by adding stamped steel parts onto a tubular receiver, which substantially cut down milling time. The added benefit of doing so meant that it could be produced in small machine shops across the country with minimal tooling and manpower. That's right, the Sten Mark II can be made with the same tools you would your son's Pinewood Derby. Now that's not to say this is necessarily easy. I definitely had my share of internet deep dives shouting into the nether for answers. Now you're probably wondering, aren't Stens open bolt?
Yeah.
And being that I live in America and don't want to end up on the US government's no talking profile, the gentlemen over at Indianapolis Ordinance have come up with a solution that turns your Waco into a way to go.
Area secure.
The system features a two-spring design that separates the bolt head and striker when cocked. Similar to the original Sten bolt, the striker has a locking tab that catches on the trigger sear, and when fired allows the striker to hit the firing pin. Now the system is anything but graceful. Despite being 9mm, the felt recoil gives some rifle calibers a run for their money. Not to mention the trigger is one of the mushiest things I've ever felt. It was so bad that half the time I couldn't even tell if the sear had caught because of how far back I had to pull. And don't even get me started on the ergonomics. The front of the gun is devoid of any grip space, and C-clamping it makes it almost impossible to see the front sight. I've been told that the British Manual of Arms actually requires soldiers to hold the gun fingers forward from the magwell, but this was a bit awkward and really seemed to only be useful when behind cover. A really weird quirk I found with the magazines is that they work better when loaded with 15 rounds or more, and as the magazine begins to empty, failures to feed become more common. I chalked this up to spring tension due to the age of these magazines, but I also found that I got much more consistent cycles when switching from 115 to 124 grain ammunition. So what's my overall opinion of the Sten Mark II? If you like working with your hands or are just getting into the world of firearms design, this is a fantastic primer. It allows for a lot of experimentation. The availability of spare parts makes it a fun weapon to mess around with. And while it may not be the most aesthetically pleasing, it's definitely a conversation starter when others see it in your collection. But that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. My name is Pancake of Pantech Industries, and as always, keep calm and carry on.
Gun scraps and wartime bread. We eat like the Germans.